Welcome back to the channel. Austin has officially been moved in for maybe a month and 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, a month and a few weeks now.
How does
About
it
5
feel?
weeks. Feels good. I'm enjoying it. It's I'm settling into the place now, and been running around a little bit like crazy, but that's okay. Still settling in and getting used to the house now, and it's going good.
Good.
Yeah.
Look out for a separate house video
Yes.
with just more updates and everything that's been going on. But today's video is about the wedding.
That's right.
A lot of you guys have been asking about the wedding and details, and so we thought we'd make a video about it. So, without further ado, we have set a date.
That's right.
Would you like to tell them the date?
It is March 12th, 2022.
Woo!
That's right.
So, yeah, we've got the date set. We were able to find just a nice location to have it, really simple. We're pretty excited.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be just a nice, simple wedding. I don't think either one of us needs anything too crazy. Nothing too big. It's not really our style.
No,
So
we were really kind of trying to rack our brains and come up with something that would be fitting for both of us, because we're really not, like, I don't know, flashy people. I mean, we didn't want a big wedding or anything crazy expensive. Just trying to come up with something simple, and it's really crazy. I mean, I didn't know that weddings could really get that expensive, and then you just start looking into it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, how is this?
Yeah.
Like, the average wedding, I think, is like $20,000.
Oh yeah, it can get very expensive very quickly. Just like, just about anything nowadays. But
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, even some of the places that are, I mean, where we live, that are wedding venues, just looking them up, it might have been like a couple $1,000s to rent. And I'm not saying it's not worth it. And if you have the money and if you want to do that, by all means.
If that's what you want to do, then that's fine.
For sure. I mean, because there's some beautiful places, but for us, it just is...
Just not quite what we were looking for.
No. It'll mostly just be family and friends there. Honestly, mostly family.
Yeah. Pretty much. Not, we don't need a whole lot of people there. I think we've talked about, probably less than 100 people for sure.
I mean, I couldn't really, we both come up with like 30 kind of quickly. Family
for each of us.
Yeah, family that we would invite.
Approximately, and, give or take some.
Yeah, so maybe 70, 80 people max.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like that's too big, and I think it'll be nice too, because it will kind of be a family thing. Your mom can help, my mom can help. Of course, we're going to put Katie to work.
That's right.
And I think that'll just be really nice to just keep it small and simple, because it's not only like when we're thinking about a wedding. I mean, the thought that went into this is not just the money, because it can get so expensive and so out of hand, like so quick. But two, I just want it to be simple. I mean, if it's really big and fancy and lots of details, and I mean, you're already going to be nervous that day, and I don't want to be overwhelmed more than I already am.
No need to put extra pressure on yourself. That's not necessary if you don't want that.
I had a person tell me one time that they were at a wedding, and it was the bride, and she was so busy, and she had her mom make her this cake, but she was so busy with greeting everyone and all that she never even got to eat a bite of the cake. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, kind of defeats the whole point, right?
That would not be good at all. So I just want it to be, we just want it to be really simple, and to where we've got time to talk to family and meet and greet everyone, and definitely enjoy some cake.
Absolutely.
So speaking of cake, what kind of wedding cake do you want?
I'm not really particular about it. Just, I'm always a fan of just like plain yellow cake, regular icing, nothing too crazy. But I mean, so really anything for me is going to be fine. What about you?
Pretty much the same. I like chocolate stuff, like candy, but I don't really like chocolate cake. I don't know why, but I never have. So I don't really want chocolate cake, but maybe something like vanilla. Just something plain. And we were thinking too, because wedding cakes apparently are quite expensive if you start looking them up. We're thinking maybe, I don't know, we'll have one made, like a simple one, and then just have other desserts. Like, I'm hoping maybe like people can make them, like I wouldn't mind. I could make one cake and make one your mom, just kind of have the family make other desserts, kind of like church potluck style.
Yeah.
Those desserts, guys, at church are the best.
And then we'll be catered with hot dogs and beanie weenies.
Oh, come to our wedding, we're having hot dogs.
That's right.
Really though, I mean, not hot dogs, but no, not the hot dogs, but we can definitely look at catering, or even if you just went somewhere like, I don't know, Rib Country, and got so many pounds of barbecue and just had barbecue sandwiches. I think that'd be fine.
Yeah, it's something like that, or some people are probably picky, so maybe just some kind of catering. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
nothing too crazy.
Yeah, nothing too crazy, and that's kind of the crazy thing about it though. Like, Mom talked to her a lot, of course, asking her about her wedding, and it's funny, we actually found, I probably didn't tell you this, that her notebook the other day,
really? No.
Where she was like, just making a list of, talk to the florist and the food and this and that.
So and that what that little picture was on that sheet of paper? Is that what that's from?
I don't know.
It was a drawing somebody made, and it said,
Matt and Tipper?
Yeah.
That's actually not what that's from.
Oh, okay.
We found her notebook, and it was really sweet. But they only had like mints and punch and cookies or something at their wedding, and I think honestly that's fine. I mean, it doesn't have to be such a big ordeal like a 3-course meal.
No, it doesn't have to be anything crazy like that. I mean, I feel like something, but it doesn't have to be like a 3-course steak dinner.
Right, exactly. Even if it was a potluck style, and it was just like, okay, if you're coming to the wedding.
Now, I'm sure there are people that will be in attendance that might disagree, but it's not about them.
Yeah. Well, and that's true. I mean, if it's your family, obviously, and they love you, they're just going to support you in whatever you're doing. They're not going to mind, if it's not the biggest, fanciest thing ever. I mean, hopefully they don't mind.
Hopefully not.
Colors. Definitely, I'm still thinking about colors. So that way we know what dresses, the bridesmaids need to wear, and the colors that the guys need to wear, and all that jazz. I'm thinking maybe like some kind of pink, like dusty rose, some kind of, I don't know, in that color scheme. I was looking up color schemes, and there's some really pretty peaches and greens, like sage greens and stuff like that, but I really like the pink burgundy type colors like this and the red shoes.
Yeah, that's right.
So maybe something like that, and it'll be spring, so that'd be really pretty. And I'm really hoping, like flower wise, that we could get daffodils. Daffodils are my favorite flowers, and I think that would be really pretty.
Yeah, I'm sure we can.
Yeah. Speaking of dresses, I did order a dress, which I can't put on here.
No, I have not seen it.
No.
So don't worry.
No.
No bad luck here.
No bad luck. I actually just ordered it offline. That's the other thing. Wedding dresses are like the most expensive part of the wedding.
I'm sure.
And there's not a place where we live here that you could even go and try one on. You'd have to go 2 hours in any direction, whether that's Tennessee, Asheville, Georgia.
Yeah.
So there's just not a place. And because they are so expensive, I want a nice dress, but I'm going to wear it for like a couple hours, maybe at most. So there's no point in paying even $500 for a dress, in my opinion, for something that I'm going to wear once for like a couple hours. So I found one online, and it's being shipped here. So I'm just going to try it and see. And if it doesn't work, then it was cheap enough to where I could buy another one.
Yep, there you go.
But you guys will see pictures eventually. You're just going to have to wait a couple months.
That's right. I was thinking for the guys, we're either going with blaze orange everything, or
camouflage.
Yeah, camouflage, or possibly, red blazer, black pants for UGA.
No.
Oh, come on, why not?
I don't know.
Nah,
just not the red.
Just basic. Anything basic would be fine. Just regular old tux, I guess.
Well, and not even, even if they don't wear tux.
That's true.
What you're wearing is nice enough. Just khakis and a nice button-up would be fine, I think.
Yeah. Anything's fine with me.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be like super. And the dress I bought, too, is, it's not like super crazy fancy, so it doesn't have to be too wild.
I'm easy. No, nothing picky from me.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That is good.
Yep.
Wedding planning, honestly, it's tough. There are so many details that go into it. You just never think of it until you have to do it, and then you're like, oh man, this is why people hire wedding planners. This is why being a wedding planner is a job.
And this is why I'm not picky, because I am just hands off, whatever they decide is good with me.
Another thing is we are actually going to get Pastor Lon, which we spoke about on the channel.
That's right.
So we'll leave we will leave the link in the description below to his channel.
Yes.
Oh man, I always mess up when I go to say that. But anyways, so we're going to get him to come up and do that, and we were really honored that he said yes. So that's going to be really nice.
Yep, it will be.
So, how we first met, I don't know that we really ever told the story on the channel, and if we have,
I'm not sure either.
Maybe it was just in passing or a long time ago,
Yeah.
But I thought it would be kind of cool to include in this how we first met. So, we actually met online.
Yeah,
and
believe it or not.
But yes, believe it or not, I would have never, ever tried online dating, and I had said in the past there was no way I would try it, but I had a really close friend at the time. And I don't know, it was the right time, right place, and she mentioned it, and I just was like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll just see. And the thing about it is that you can put your profile on there. So I was really intentional on your profile to put all the details to where they're not going to match you with someone that you would have nothing in common with. And then you get to decide if you want to try to message them. If they message you, you don't have to respond. It was very laid back. And so I actually found Austin because I had my radius, and then the radius, of course, so that way you're not going to get matched with someone like in the United Kingdom or China or wherever. Right. You know, not that that might not work out, but for most people. But I had my radius set at 2 hours because my mom and dad were 2 hours apart. Mom lived here, and then Dad lived in Haywood County about 2 hours from us. So in my head, I'm like, well, okay, they made it work. I won't set it any more than that. So I actually found him.
Right, because I did not have my radius set that far. So had she not have found me and messaged me out of the blue, I would have never even known that she existed. So it's kind of just a stroke of luck on my part.
It was. Well, I mean, it just was like, it was a stroke of luck on my part. I mean, I'm so glad that it worked. Of course, I mean, God wanted us to be together. Yeah. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that he didn't have his radius set like that until a long time, like maybe 2 years into the relationship. And then I was like, wait, I didn't pop up for you?
Nope. And see, the reason I ever even got on there in the first place, I was skeptical about it too. But, I was like, well, anybody I'm meeting, I don't really have anything in common with. And it just doesn't seem like I'm going to find somebody like that unless I do something about it to specifically try to find somebody that's got similar interests as me. So that's kind of why I even did it in the first place. And, just lucky that we were both on there at the same time, and that, she was able to find me, because I wouldn't have found her, like I said. So just lucky in all kind of different ways.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I would have never done it. I mean, it just worked out. But of course, we believe it worked out because God wanted us to be together. Because it could have just as easily not worked. Because there's people on there that would message you that you were like, oh no, and then there would be people maybe that you would message that like it wouldn't work, whatever. Right. But then it just kind of worked, and that's the best way to describe it. There was no resistance, no anything. So we talked for a while, then we talked on the phone, and I was like, I'm going to do some social media research and make sure that he's not an axe murderer.
Basically, she was creeping, trying to figure some stuff out.
Not that I thought you were, but you have to be careful. So
you do, and that's, that's smart. For anybody who is wanting to do that, you definitely got to be smart about it.
Yeah, and when we met in a very public place.
Absolutely.
I did not get in his vehicle. He did not get in mine. We were very careful, but then after the first meeting, I was like, oh man.
Well, I mean, really some people you can tell right out of the gate that they're just normal people.
Yeah.
So
you were very normal.
Well, I'd like to think so.
You were, and he was.
Little
so
did you
sweet.
know I'm not.
Well, you didn't know that I was not.
We're the same kind of weird, so it works.
Yes, so it works. I remember though that day I was so nervous and my heart was pounding. By the time I got there and pulled up, I thought, gosh, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? But he was. And then I pull up
and you're like, man, really? Why did I do this?
No, I did not. I was very smitten from the start.
Well,
and so I was nervous.
I was too.
He was so sweet though. He opened the door for me, and then we went in like a coffee place, and I don't drink coffee, but he bought me some tea. Like, literally, like, we met at the door, and I was like, oh, hey, I went in first, and that was, like, all I had seen. So he was behind me, and then I'm buying tea, and then he refuses, like, for me to pay for it.
Well, you know, that's just how my mom and dad raised me, you know. Open the door, you know, you pay for the lady, and, you know, it's just basic rules of being a gentleman. And so my mom and dad taught me well.
It was so sweet. And really, after that, you know, we met again, and then after maybe twice more, we were like, okay, we really like each other.
Yeah.
And then from then, so we lived 2 hours away.
Yes.
So up until really now.
Yeah, up until now, really.
Up until now. So we lived 2 hours away. And
even more than that. Probably.
Yeah, well, even more than that.
Yeah.
So at first, when it was 2 hours away, he worked at Enterprise, the rental car company, and he worked every other weekend.
Yep.
And then we had gigs. And so we didn't get to see each other that much. And when he worked on the weekends, you wouldn't get off until like 3 p.m. on Saturday. Then you had to go in on Sunday at like 10 a.m.
It's just, you know, the branch I worked at was like, I think, at least at the time, like the second or third biggest branch in the state of Georgia. And so we were always open on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So it's just kind of a little bit unlucky on my part there. But it's like, till 3 o'clock on Saturday until like, what was it, maybe noon on Sunday? Yeah. Or was it later than that? I can't remember.
I can't remember, but that was really hard. And like the first time that I drove to his house, I drove down and then seen you for like 2 hours and then drove 2 hours back. So it was like a 4 hour
there was a lot of that in the beginning, you know, where we didn't get to see each other all that much because of my job mostly.
Yeah.
But, you know, we made it work.
We did, and his parents were so kind.
And your parents were very kind to have me all the time, too. And
we're really grateful for that.
Absolutely.
Because that really helped.
It probably wouldn't have worked otherwise, you know.
And we were able just to stay, like when I went, I just stay the whole weekend. And even now, if I go back, because it's just, that's a hard, 4 hours. I'm just not that good at driving that long.
Right. Well, and you know, you'd stay and they'd let you stay in the spare bedroom, and your parents let me stay on the couch or air mattress or whatever. And, you know, it's just worked out that both of our parents were very gracious with that.
Yeah.
So
now, how did we get engaged? We should talk about that.
So, Enterprise lasted for maybe like a year and a half the first year and a half that we dated. And it was December of 2019. I actually interviewed for the job I have now and got the job. And part of the whole deal was that I would go to Birmingham for a couple months, you know, for several months of 2020 to train. Because it's just in an industry that I didn't really have much experience in at all. So, you know, just to learn the ins and outs of the industry. So that I could do my job well, they wanted me to come and train at the plant with no problem at all, right? So, you know, 2020 happens, and I'm supposed to be at the plant, you know, like 3 months-ish, and, you know, well, more like 6 months, I think it actually was.
4 or 5.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways, 2020 happens, March of 2020 goes down, and that's when everything kind of starts shutting down. And so, you know, part of my job now is traveling around and meeting with customers all over the place. You know, my territory is the Southeast. So obviously when everything's shut down, I can't go see anybody, so I can't really train for that part of the job. So I just, you know, end up having to stay at the plant for basically the whole year. It
was a whole year. At first it was like, okay, well maybe just a little bit more, because no one knew, you know, when the pandemic first happened.
Nobody knew how to handle things.
And everybody, it'd be like, well, okay, it's probably going to be over, it's probably going to be over, it's probably going to be over, you know, and it kind of never was.
Right.
And it ended up being a whole year. Yeah. It was December to December, and so Birmingham, when we first met, he was 2 hours away. Birmingham from here is 4 hours away. So then it was twice as long. And then when the pandemic happened, I remember it was in March. I mean, at least that's when I first started, remember hearing about it and seeing it on TV. Yeah. And I was thinking about driving to Birmingham to see you. And then I remember it was like, well, wait a second. Mom saying like, well, wait a second. I think there's this virus that they're saying and whatnot. And so then I was like, okay, I better not go. And then I was glad I didn't, because you know, I might have got stuck, and we were separated for
Right.
like 3 months. We
Yeah,
didn't
well,
see
I
each
mean, like we said, nobody knew what to do. So
No.
nobody knew, should I go and see, should I come and see you, or should I stay,
Yeah.
or, you know, what should I do?
We were just 3 months. I mean, and you know, we take care of Granny, Mama's mama, and she's
Right.
feeble, and that's still our biggest fear is really wanting to be careful and not give her anything, even the common cold, you know.
Right.
So for 3 months,
Yep.
we were separated, and then even then, it's not like we could see each other too terrible much because it was 4 hours.
Yeah, it's even further than before, so it just kind of made it a little more difficult, and so it's just kind of, 2020 was, you know, a little bit rough in terms of, you know, getting to see each other a lot, and
that was hard.
so, but all that to say that, you know, when I had first gone to Birmingham, we talked about, you know, maybe we could start to think about getting
like
engaged.
this time next year.
Yeah, like
which was
December or
last
January
December.
of 2020.
Yeah.
Right? December 2020, January 2020.
Yeah.
Ish. Somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Nothing set in stone, obviously. But
Yeah.
we thought about that, but then, you know, I'm there for the whole year. We barely see each other that year.
So, then
So,
we were like, I guess
okay,
not.
well, you know, maybe it's not the best time.
Yeah. And it was crazy because I remember, I think it was February, and that was of 2020, of course, right before everything happened, because we went to Terrace. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Terrace.
To Terrace, yeah. A really nice diamond store to look at rings.
I actually know the owner, Eddie.
Yes.
A super nice guy. He used to rent cars from me at Enterprise.
Yes, he's
So
really nice.
if you see this, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Eddie.
Yeah.
Really nice place. And, you know, we went and just looked, and we weren't in any kind of rush. We just thought, okay, well, we'll just look and think. And then we felt really good about it and said, well, let's just, you know, let's take this next year slow and think about it. And this time next year. But, of course, we had no idea that in just a few short weeks, you know, everything was going to go down like it did. But then, you know, then this past December, well, I guess you were just getting home from Birmingham this past December.
Yeah, it would have been late December of 2020.
Yeah.
And really, probably more like January, actually, when I actually went and got my stuff all back.
It was like truly a full year.
Yeah.
And then we talked about it again, and then we were like, well, okay, maybe.
Yeah, I remember because it was almost a year to the day. It was like my first day was like January 13th there, and it was almost to the day when I got my stuff moved out.
And then we talked about, you know, getting engaged again and thinking about it, and then thinking about the rings, you know, again, it's kind of like the wedding stuff. We didn't want something, I did not want something really big, really expensive, really fancy, anything like that. I mean, if it's something you're going to be wearing a lot, I didn't want to worry about breaking it or getting it caught on something or anything like that. And his mom was super gracious to, you know, allow us to use.
Yes, so I was actually able to use one of my mom's rings. She let us take the diamonds, put it in a new setting, and, you know, so that's really special to me.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you feel the same way about that.
It's really special. I mean, that's a hope that if it does work out, like, so my mom and dad, their wedding rings are dad's grandparents. So Bonnie and Curtis, they both have that set. You know, and mom offered me both of her rings, you know, but I said, I don't want to take your rings. And, you know, we had looked at his mom's and it just worked out like that. But that means the world to me, you know, having something that was hers, because really from the time I met all your family, I loved them dearly. And of course I still do. But your mom is just such a picture of strength and beauty and all those things to me. And so when I feel like I wear it, I feel like she's one of like the strongest people I know, and I look up to her, so like it just means a lot.
She's a very special lady.
She is.
How we actually got engaged, it was July 12th of this year.
It was. And if you've been on the channel long, you've probably seen it, but if
probably
not,
so, yeah.
We're gonna throw the
for anybody new, we'll have the clip in.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were at the beach,
Myrtle Beach.
Yep. We
Garden
were there
City Beach.
the week after 4th of July, right? And is that right? Yeah, that's right. Anyways, week after 4th of July, we were at Myrtle Beach, and weren't able to go last year because of COVID again. And so we ended up going this year. And, you know, I thought about, you know, when's the right time to do it? And half of me thought, you know, it's too obvious to do it at the beach. But then at the same time, I was like, well, but who cares? you know, that's part of why people do it, you know, so, and, you know, we always enjoy going, so I thought it'd be special, and so, you know, every time we go back, we can always think about that, so, yeah, we actually walked down to the beach, did it on the beach, and it, you can watch the clip, it's pretty special, so. It
was really sweet. I was so nervous, like, you know, because we had talked about it.
I was more nervous than you, I promise.
You probably were, yeah. I kind of in my head was like, oh wait, is this it? And then I was like, oh wait, maybe this is not. And I'm just like totally playing this up of something that's not even real. And it was so sweet, you know. I feel like in every clip, everyone sees the girl's reaction is to always, she puts her hand straight to her face. And I had in my head, I won't do that.
Yep.
But you do.
First thing you did.
Yes, because it immediately made me cry. I mean, I was happy, but it made me cry, and I didn't know what to do besides that.
Well, I'm just glad you said yes.
Did you have any doubts that I would?
Not really, but then, you know, you've always got that in the back of your mind, you know, what if? Yeah. But I was fairly confident you'd say yes.
Yes, I definitely. That was so sweet. I mean,
but I did a good job. My family and your family all did a good job of not letting the cat out of the bag.
They did, especially with Katie, because Katie always, like, I can always tell if she's lying.
No offense, but that's the one person I was really worried about.
Yeah, I can always tell, and I had even kind of tried to, like, I mean, I really wanted it to be a surprise, so, like, I didn't want to know, but I had even kind of tried to ask, and she was just like, Corey, I'm sorry, I don't know. And why would he? And she had me so convinced. She's like, Corey, I'm not trying to like knock you down here, but why would he propose at the beach? That's obvious. No, that's not gonna happen.
Good job, Katie.
And then I had like so in my head, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, so that was really funny. So, before we end this video, how do you feel about getting married?
Terrible. No, just kidding. No, it's awesome. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah. I'm really excited too, and it's just funny though, because I feel like, you know, as a little girl, you think, oh, I'll grow up and, you know, meet Mr. Right and get married, and it happens so fast.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like that was like 2 seconds ago, and now here I am, and I'm like, I'm going to be married in a couple months, and I'm so excited, but it's just crazy how fast it really goes.
Absolutely. Time is absolutely flying by. This year especially is flown by.
Yeah, I don't know how that
But, I mean, we'll blink and be married soon enough,
I know, and then we'll blink and it'll be
10 years down the road.
Later.
Yep.
May have some kids, you never know.
You never know.
At least some dogs.
Yes, at least fur babies.
At least fur babies,
that's what all the people call it now.
It is.
So
fur babies. Well, anything else?
I don't think so.
Well, we're really excited to be getting married and planning a wedding, and thank you to everyone who's watching the videos on the channel and subscribing, and who's asked us about the wedding and sent us well wishes and everything. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you again to everybody who sent us housewarming gifts. We really, really appreciate that.
We do. That's so kind of you guys.
Absolutely.
In the meantime, look out for a house update video. We'll try to get out one of those soon. But until then,
you'll be seeing plenty of this knucklehead.
Plenty of this knucklehead, that's right.
That's right.
But until then, we hope you guys have a great day, and we will catch you at the next video.
Thanks, guys.